Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And today we're diving into how do you really choose what supplement is right for you? How do you really choose what supplements are right to take in general or at all? And if you're new here, what we're doing in this channel is really diving deep into data, diving deep into information that's quantifiable that can ultimately change our lives for the better. More energy, more profitability, more productivity, and ultimately just a more fulfilled life. A lot of people call it biohacking. You guys know my take on biohacking. We're not hacking anything. Truth of the matter is, all this information is available on YouTube. You can dive in for hours upon hours of it, but what we're doing here is we're taking out that maturation process. There's information everywhere. Everyone wants a transformation. We're filling the gap in the middle. And so let's make sure that we can figure out what supplements are right for you, and let's dive in. So the global supplement industry in 2020 was $140.3 billion and expected to expand at a compound annual growth rate of 8.6% from 2021 to 2028. That means we are going to crest about a $200 billion industry by 2028. And that means there's a lot of crap out there. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know what we're taking. We don't know what to take, when to take, how to take, or ultimately what's right for us. And if you've ever gone to a doctor or a naturopath or talked to your best friend at the gym, they're all taking something different. And you're like, oh, maybe that's what I need to take to look as young as 55-year-old Frank. Or maybe that's what I need to take to look like real buff, sexy Brad Pitt. But in actuality, there's simple ways in which we can do it, because all of these companies, whether it's Vital Proteins, whether it's Thorne, whether it's your CPS brand, they're all going to continue to tell you what you should be taking, but what do we really need to take? And that is the catch-22, the million-dollar question, is how should we really understand what it is that we need to take on a day-to-day basis? So the number one thing we should be doing is a DNA test. There is no way to understand what your body needs without having this. And so if we come down to what a DNA test actually looks at, when we look at nutrient metabolism, it breaks it down into all those micronutrients that are prevalent in each and every single one of these vitamins. We've got vitamin A, vitamin B12, C, all the way through iron, zinc, calcium, all the way down the list. And we start to see if we have a risk variant for being deficient, and if our risk is elevated, typical, or depressed. And if it's elevated, there's typically usually something that we can do nutritionally, where it's, hey, let's take in more foods that have vitamin A in them. If you're like, I wonder what are good sources of vitamin A, let's scroll down to that section and we can say, oh, I should have more pumpkin, more carrots, more sweet potatoes, tuna, squash, goat cheese, eggs, mackerel, things of that nature that are gonna help me because I have that elevated vitamin A deficiency. Same thing when we go and start looking at calcium, choline. We can go down to the bottom here and look at some of the other examples of micronutrient deficiencies we may have, from magnesium, zinc, starch, vitamin E, adenopectin, interleukin, nitric oxide, all of these things. That how does our body respond to that? And once we understand how our body responds to it, then we're now going to be able to really go and get a blood test. And this should be the next step in which we do. Because when we get a blood test, what this is going to ultimately tell us is how is our body actually responding. Genetically, we know what we're predisposed to being deficient in, but now we actually have a real-time understanding of what it is we're deficient in. So do I need to take that vitamin A or that calcium? If I come back and take a look at my DNA test, it says that I'm predisposed to having a calcium deficiency. We can see it right here, okay? Elevated risk to have a calcium deficiency. So make sure I'm supplementing with 1,200 milligrams a day. Well, based upon my typical habits, based upon what I'm doing today, my blood test tells me that I'm actually right in range at 9.4, literally right in the middle, between 8.7 and 10.2 of what's required. So there's no reason for me to take a calcium supplement. And a lot of doctors will say, oh, you need to supplement calcium. A lot of people will say, oh, you need to supplement calcium, or you need to take this, or you need to take that. But we just debunked the fact that I need to, because my blood test says that I'm fine, and genetically, I need to be aware of it, so my diet should consist of X, Y, and Z. But obviously my habits are doing it the right way. So that gives us a really clear and concise way of what it is that needs to come of this. Now, if I was not taking a supplement for calcium, I'm going to give you guys a real life example here of Elise. When she went and actually got her blood test done, and in her DNA test, she was deficient in zinc. Okay, she was at an increased risk for zinc deficiency. When she went and got her blood test done, it said that she was also deficient in zinc and that it was something she should supplement. And in fact, she should prevent herself from getting blood tests done regularly because it's hard on her body to continue to reproduce that. Now, the third thing that we can start looking at is our HRV. And ironically, but not so ironic, as soon as Elise started to give blood last week, she had a major decrease in her HRV. It's typically up about 42, 43, and it dropped down to that low 30s area. So it was telling her body that, hey, I became deficient in zinc because you gave blood, and so I'm gonna have to start, that's a stressor. And so it has to now build its way up over the course of time and adapt to the stress of what giving blood did to her body and ultimately to reproduce and build back up that zinc level in her body. So that is how we use a DNA test, a blood test, and HRV management to continually retest over and over and over again, reproduce this cycle to make sure that you're taking vitamins, you're taking a supplement, you're taking a nutritional impacting routine that has the effect on you that it's meant to have. Otherwise, all we're doing, flushing those down the toilet, flushing our money down the toilet, flushing products down the toilet, and quite frankly, supplementing with things that we don't need to. And so the more clear we can be, the more we can utilize the information in an impactful way, the better our bodies are going to be able to function, the better our bodies are going to be able to stay alive, and quite frankly, the better we are going to feel. And life is always better when we feel good. So if you like this video, comment below. If you want more help, if you have questions, I always respond to those comments. So be sure to comment below. Be sure to share this, like it, subscribe so that you can get access to these videos on a weekly basis. And as always, go own it.